Well. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed.
You don't look very happy today.
I
will say.
I had a great day today, actually.
Your face is showing me otherwise.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I only have one face. This is it. But no, I had a great day. I golfed in the morning, played my best game. Not impressive, but my best game so far. Worked out right after that. Went into the steam room, the project that I built. Hope you guys saw it. And then after that, went into the cold plunge, another project that I built. Go check it out. Did 6 minutes in the cold plunge.
Ooh, is that your longest time so far?
Yes, but I haven't tried to break any records or anything like that. I will say the temperature.
You're just increasing your time each time?
Well, I think I'm going to stay for a while at 6 minutes. I think I read an article.
5 is pretty hard for me.
5 is, yeah. You know how you read like multiple articles and they'll say like different ranges? So one time I Googled the benefits of a cold plunge, like for how long. And they're saying the benefits kick in between 3 and 5 minutes. But then I read another article recently, not that it was supposed to trump that article, but it was 6 to 8 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, let me see if I can get to 6 minutes and have that be my gold standard for now. Well, the temperatures also dropped. I was hanging out at like 45, 46, 47 degrees. And I don't know if it's like certain days.
It feels so much colder certain days.
I don't know. But what I did see is I got into it at 44 degrees today because it's cooling off outside. It's like in the 80s. So it actually can get below 50. That I noticed at 44 degrees, my feet and my hands ached. Like they hurt.
Because it's so cold.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm trying to do 6 minutes. So I did that. So I did sauna. I did worked out, golf, steam room, cold plunge for 6 minutes, and then got a little bit of computer work and content work done. So I'm doing pretty freaking well for today.
You just don't seem like your outgoing, chipper self.
My outgoing chipper self.
Maybe it's just around me.
Well, we're still kind of in workflow. It's not like I'm like here like prancing around like we're.
But usually you'll just like, I don't know. You just didn't have a
but
smile
I'm also,
on your face today.
I don't know. I feel like you've been like extra
sensitive
to the way my face is and the way like
to the way my face is. I like your face.
Thanks.
I just need it to be a little bit more smiley today.
Well, I mean, we can get there, but I'm still kind of like, I think
you are. You're like in the flow still. Usually when you're done with work, you have this like period of time where you go shower, unwind, get dressed, put on like I really love it. After you work, you go shower and you put on like nice clothes. I feel like a lot of people do the opposite. They'll come home from work and just put on their like sweats and like baggy t-shirt. But you always like come out in your like jeans and you're like button up. It looks really cute. Anyway, I appreciate
cologne.
That. And cologne. You're always wearing cologne.
Preach. Okay, preach.
Preach that a lot. You always got your like necklace on, your accessories.
I live by motto of looking good, feeling good.
Yeah.
If I worked a whole day and I want to like wind down, take a shower, if I am dressed in sweats, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good when I'm put together.
I like that a lot. Because then it feels like I want to also like look cute after a long day of work.
And you do it very well.
Do you think if you worked at, let's say, a corporate job where you had to dress up, do you think you would still do the same thing when you got home, or do you think you would put on lounge clothes?
Oh, that's a great question. I remember having a corporate-ish job when I was a personal banker. And even funny, I just said that, and I felt the collar of a collared shirt and tie because we had to wear.
Your neck is just like tightening as you're speaking.
I have a pretty thick neck, and so in general, it's pretty hard for me to get a comfortable fitted like dress shirt.
Where you actually button
so
it,
it's squeezing the top of it. But that's a great question. I think when I was single, I would put on, from that scenario, some form of shorts and a t-shirt.
Which is still like kind of comfy.
But based off of the summer, obviously, I'm not putting on jeans, right? Because it's 100 degrees after wind down. I put on a tank top and shorts, but they're not like basketball shorts. They're nice shorts.
Short shorts.
Short shorts. Yeah. That's what I do.
Daisy, your Daisy Dukes.
No, but I still feel like I'm,
You are. Even I do feel like even your loungewear is pretty. It's just looks nicer than just like baggy sweats. It's like fitted. I like it a lot.
I don't get when people like. I get being not in restraining clothes, but I feel like I get it more from the females when you guys as a culture are more bound to be wearing really tight jeans and really tight shirts and uncomfortable shoes that aren't, so bras, wires, and all that stuff. So you're constantly in a state of discomfort, But so I could kind of see why you guys want to come home and put on something baggy where you're like, I could just like
breathe.
Yeah. I don't get it when guys do it. Like I don't.
You're like already pretty comfortable.
You're pretty unless you're wearing a collared shirt, then put on a t-shirt. But I'll see these guys in these like giant basketball shorts and this like overgrown t-shirt from whatever, like triple XL
with like stains and like
stains rips. and they have these most destroyed slip-ons, and I just don't get how that's comfortable. But I like I said, to me, I live by the motto of like, if you doesn't matter what hurt. I remember my mom kind of taught me that. She didn't intentionally do it, but I saw from examples. So my mom always had chronic illnesses when we were growing up, like really uncontrolled rheumatoid arthritis, constantly in and out of emergency rooms for pain medication. Like there's days that she had to be like bedridden because her joints are all swollen. Mm-hmm. And on top of it, she always like woke up, made her bed and dressed up, like not like really fancy, but like did her hair and like put on like she's not walking around in a robe. And I remember her specifically telling me that she's doing that because no matter how much her body hurts, that if she's dressed nicely and put together, then at least she feels a little bit better.
I think that's absolutely true. It's a mindset. Mm-hmm. It's the way, like you said, looking good, feeling good. It's if you feel like you're put together, like that's how I feel about makeup. If I don't have my makeup on, I just feel kind of something's like I'm not finished, like my outfit, or I just feel kind of off. Once I put my makeup on and do my hair, it's like I feel so good and so much better, and like I can like take on the day.
Well, the idea is, I think what you said, you feel incomplete or not finished. I think it's the fact that you're not ready for the day. Mm-hmm. Like that's just a natural.
And whatever it may be for everybody else, for me, those are like the steps. It's like I have to put on something that makes me, feel good. I feel good in it. I feel like I look good in it. I at least have, my hair brushed or done, and then like, makeup on. And then I'm like, okay, I feel like I can, I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready to conquer the day.
Ready to conquer the day.
But speaking of which, I came out. I was just working out right before this. I took a shower and changed. I didn't really do my hair, but at least I've had.
I see where this is going.
You know where this is going.
I know where this is going.
I came out in my denim jumpsuit,
which I've never seen before.
I've worn this before.
You've worn that before?
Yeah,
okay.
And I think you've seen it. You just don't remember.
Do you think I tried?
As I wore it out with like the girls, memory? You probably did. Anyway, I come out and your face. No. You did one of these.
What was it?
It was like the
face
a little bit of a surprise, but like taken aback, but also not smiling.
I don't know if you're fixated on me not smiling in the last.
Okay, but how did you feel about my outfit?
I was taken back. I don't hate it.
What do you not like about it?
But I've also, it's unfair because my first reaction, because the way
was not good.
Well, the first way you're presenting it to me is kind of like one of those videos where you see the bride and groom, and the groom sees the bride for the first time,
But it's like the opposite of that.
And that's what you did. But that also happened because there's a guy at the front door that's trying to deliver something. And so he rings the doorbell. I come up to get it. I open the door. I see him. And then, or before I even open the door, I'm reaching for the door and I look at you. And so I'm just taken back from it because So were you trying to have a better reaction because he was at the door? No, I was taken back because he was there and then you were there and you were wearing that.
So if he wasn't there, what would your reaction be?
And I just saw you. Maybe I would have. No, well, I don't know. Maybe I would have had it like elaborate. Like maybe I could process it a little bit better,
a little bit quicker.
I feel like I didn't have a chance to process it.
All my friends said this was cute when I wore it.
I didn't say it's not cute.
But it's not cute.
It's so. Here's what my brain did. My brain went like this. Boy, that's a lot of denim. That's what my brain did.
Denim on denim.
That's all it was.
Is-
It wasn't that it was not pretty, but it's just like when you're so expected to see denim
Only on the
pants
bottom part of your
or
body.
even like, you know, a different color denim on top, but it's the same denim in a
It's
big,
one
what are these,
piece
what are they called? Jumpers?
jumpsuit.
Jumpsuit. Okay.
Do I look like I am going to go to work like at a car mechanic shop?
No, it's cute. It's just I don't think that you allowed for me to process that because of how much denim there was.
There was a lot of denim to process
That's
through. You had to do like a full evaluation, and you couldn't in the moment because
Well,
there was somebody at the door.
Well, think about it this way. Think about if I walked out in a jumpsuit, like a mechanic suit, but it's all denim. I think you would have burst out laughing.
That's different.
No, but I mean,
I've never seen a guy wear that unless he's working at a mechanic shop.
Okay, so what if I came out wearing the same tone, the exact same fabric of denim for a shirt and pants? Not different, not like black jeans and a denim like blue denim top, but like just like one giant like
Piece of denim.
even piece of denim. I guess that's the way best I look at it.
It's different. It's different for on guys because girls wear this kind of stuff. Guys don't.
That's not fair to put us in that kind of.
Yes, it is. Well, I'm saying, okay, not guys. I'm sorry, you.
Okay. What if I came out of the corner with like a cowboy hat on?
I'd probably like it.
No, I'm sure, but you would have. You
It would have been like, oh,
right.
But I
you didn't process it.
true. But I guess to me, it didn't seem like this like wow outfit.
Now you make it sound like I fell backwards. Like
You kinda did.
I was caught between a
kinda did.
rock and a hard place. Like I'm opening this front door. That this guy who rings the doorbell twice. Usually when they ring it once, there's a delivery. They're gonna leave it at the front. But like he's ringing it again. So I was like, okay, well, we're gonna go get him. And I'm reaching for it. And I was also surprised that you're coming out too because he already rang the doorbell twice. So it's kind of your fault because it's like you had a
Your
delivery.
reaction was
You
my
didn't co-
fault. You're right.
You didn't come to the door. I came
was
to the
trying
door.
to. I was
and then you're
changing.
like, this is the time I'm going to go denim on denim, full denim.
As I'm answering the door.
As you're trying to, like right after me. So that was just all that it was.
I mean, okay.
I
I'll
don't
let
think
you
it's
slide.
not cute. I think you should continue wearing it. I just
I'm
think
gonna wear
that's
it today.
You should. I mean, I won't sit by you at the football game, but I mean,
I'm gonna hold your hand.
no, we will do no such thing.
I'm gonna sit on your shoulders
People will be like,
as you're sitting in the camping chair.
What's that? What's that? All that denim on top of that gentleman.
Boy, that's a lot of denim.
That's a lot.
That's gonna be the line. Boy, that's a lot of denim.
Yeah. No, so it's not fair. I think you're.
Yeah, that's true. I think you're caught off guard, but I think I just laughed at your reaction because you're just like, whoa. Like that's what you did. You kind of did. This,
I did
like,
a little step back. Too.
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
did. See, you
well,
almost did fall back.
Well, the amount of denim that's like so close to you,
Right in your eye.
If you're coming from a distance, like from the hallway, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's okay. She's doing the denim thing today.
That's true. You were just taking off. I'll never do. I won't try not to do that again.
Okay.
I'll try to walk from a distance to meet you if I'm wearing something with so much denim.
I appreciate that.
What about a bright color? Is it kind of the same?
No, I think bright colors are.
Because I got a hot pink
denim
blazer.
blazer.
It's really cute.
Hot pink blazer. No, I think because you've had a hot pink. You had like this like light hot pink when we first met. I think our first date, you wore this like hot pink.
Our first.
It's not
date.
hot pink. It's more like a magenta blazer. It's like a light pink blazer.
Oh no, that was like salmon.
Okay, I still get the credit for saying.
That's true. The fact that you remember that wasn't magenta, but it was like coral. Yeah.
Okay, listen, I don't know which color's which.
Magenta's like a purple pink.
Okay. Did you know that, Kyle?
I think he did.
No, I do. Salmon's like a peachy pink.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense, babe? Actually, I was borrowing that blazer from Allie, my friend,
Okay.
because I wanted to look cute.
So yeah, no.
Love that you remember it though.
Well, I was there, so
You were
it
there.
helps. I think everybody remembers their first date, like the vision. I mean, for the most part, like what they saw. I don't know, like the details.
I don't remember the shirt you were wearing.
I don't remember the shirt I was wearing, to be honest.
No, actually, I do. I
'Cause
think
I
it was
wasn't.
that light blue shirt and it had like a patch on it.
Oh yeah, no, I did.
And you had your sleeves rolled up. Ooh, I have a good memory.
No, that's not it. That's the shirt that I wore when I came and visited you out here.
No, but you also wore that on one of our
Did
dates,
I?
and I think it was our first date. Either that one or a striped one.
Well,
Your classic.
I guess we'll never know.
We'll never know.
What
Unless
have-
we have a picture, which
what-
we don't.
What have you been up to recently with this whole thing?
What whole thing?
that you do?
This whole thing. Well, I feel like I need to update for those because I always feel like
What happened to your reels? You used to be
I
so heavy on
know.
reels.
well, I'm kind of coming back to them. I'm trying to do like I think reels
Are dying, right? Is that what you're saying?
no, pictures are definitely dying. I will go to people. I did this kind of like test recently. I went to a lot of, not a lot. I went to like 5 different people's profiles that are bigger influencers to see how many reels they had. And almost all of them only have reels for like 2 scrolls.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
That
Like
is
no
wild.
pictures.
Yeah.
There's only a couple people that still do pictures.
So what's your theory behind that?
I think they're just jumping on whatever is popular because Instagram has an incentive for reels and they can get paid from it.
But do you think those people are doing it because because you have to get qualified to earn the bonuses, so to get paid for the reels.
Yeah.
So, but do you think people are doing that because they're seeing a difference in engagement between them
Yes.
posting a photo and a video?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I know you're asking if they see a difference or because of the promotion that.
Correct.
Okay. I think both, because obviously if Instagram's going to pay you to do something and you're going to want to do that, instead of the other thing, which means video over pictures. The other side of it is everybody's saying how low engagement they get on pictures now because reels are just taking off. So I think people are like, well, if I'm getting like a couple hundred likes and like 5 comments, but I'll post a reel and get like thousands of likes.
Whoa,
and
easy,
hundreds
easy,
of comments.
easy.
I'm not speaking about myself.
Easy.
I'm not speaking about myself. Excuse me. This is just in general.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? And so they're going to be like, well, of course I'm going to do a reel.
Okay, that's what works,
Especially
yeah.
it's working. I can get, paid some money from it. Let's do this. So I think that's why I was doing it. And then I kind of just stopped when the kids were out for the summer. It was just a lot. I had Harper home. The boys were home. I just feel like I just had my, what did you call it? My eat, pray, love summer.
Love.
Where I just kind of,
Yeah.
was doing my thing. We did a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
We did a lot of things with the kids, with the family. And I did really appreciate having that time just to focus on kids and family.
Yeah.
And, cook and clean and laundry.
Oh yeah, all that stuff for sure. Yeah. Do you think that it's that we're consuming content in a different way that people want because I believe society can be nurtured to consume content a certain way. And I think TikTok is a great example to prove that, where and we've talked about this before, 20 years ago, we considered ourselves the 30-minute TV dinner society, where a TV show had to be 30 minutes as long as it takes to have a TV and then move on to the next thing, not long form content. But then we saw as technology progressed, we needed shorter and faster pieces of content. So then TikTok would have like these 1-minute clips and that you would watch and then you swipe up to the next one.
Right.
Do you think with the increase of engagement in reels is linked and a decreased engagement in pictures is a link towards society being cultivated, or do you think it's strictly these platforms that are pushing anybody who creates reels forward as opposed to their static images? Is it the tech companies or is it the people?
Well, I think it is kind of connected, wouldn't you think? Because they promote it, like the platform. So it started with TikTok, obviously, this short form content, and people jumped on it because they liked it and they liked those short videos. So I think people, obviously our attention span is getting shorter and shorter. We like that. But then when something is being promoted and it's like a app now, or like now Instagram did the reels, I do feel like the app is promoting it more. And it's not like people are getting more views because their same followers are just like clicking on the reel instead of the photo. It's because Instagram is promoting that reel more to other people who don't follow them. So it is. I think a lot of it is just the app that's trying to promote that whatever they decided is going to be the next thing.
Right.
But it's because they're also competing with TikTok. Like, if TikTok wasn't around, do you think Reels wouldn't be a thing?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean,
Maybe eventually.
there's a form of evolution that happens,
Yeah,
right? So like
yeah.
the printing press led to,
That's
the
true. Maybe
TV.
eventually it would, but I think it just sparked a faster growth towards that when TikTok came around. Because now, I mean, that's what Instagram wants to compete with. It's like, that's why they're paying people for Reels, because they're like, stay on our platform.
It was wild to see how Snapchat didn't make it. And then when TikTok came, everybody was like, that's not going to make it either.
And it did.
And it
Yeah.
did. And it was one of the
It
strongest
will be
ones.
interesting to see if it ever does fizzle out, or if they expand like into different categories. Because I know they ended up making Reels. What you can do, like 3-minute Reels now, or
Yeah.
sorry, not Reels, TikToks, right?
Yes.
Is that the long? Yeah. So they, I mean, they've
Yeah.
kind of evolved as things grew. It will be interesting to see if it ever does kind of fizzle out, because it is just videos. And if pictures ever, do you think pictures will ever like come back as more of a?
No. And no.
We like the fast moving
I
images.
I think unless you have a really satisfying image, I don't think that stuff works anymore.
Yeah.
That's the
It's kind
unfortunate
of
part.
crazy.
It's no, listen, I think it's crazy when you look at it from like,
Can't
okay,
do-
so
yeah.
here's the thought process I had. And this is again from the book Sapiens I was reading. And what we end up doing is we look at the last 20 years, right, of our generation. So the last 20 years you've been alive, you've kind of seen the progression in like, you're like, we used to have landlines. We used to watch, the Disney Channel. We used to call our friends. We used to have call waiting. We used to have collect call. Like you did those things, right? And then you live in that present where you're like, well, we don't have pagers anymore. We have touchscreen TVs or touchscreen iPads and cell phones and internet's everywhere. So you look at us like through a lens, this macro lens, this zoomed in lens of only 20, 30 years. But what you're not doing is you're not zooming out to see the last 14 billion years
Right.
of,
See how much has
of
changed.
evolution and seeing, relationships of children to families. How was a child viewed? There actually even came out with it recently that I heard. They said that the last, I think, 70 years was the first time in history that children weren't intentionally, like, as society by default traumatized, right? Because before the last 70 years, children were not members of the family. They were just another workforce, like
So they
another
became,
commodity.
like,
They're
an
nothing
adult.
different than a cow that you would have. It's like something that is generating something. It's creating milk. It's going doing something. It's running chores. And in the last 70 years now, there's like this whole introduction of children can be not, before the last 70 years, is children supposed to be seen, not heard. And the last, 70 years, they're now, we have relationships with them in terms of like, let's talk to them and not beat them. And you know what I mean? And like want them to make them become better than us. So stuff like that. So you have to, so when you look
Yeah.
when you're like, that's so scary when you look at technology, like, no, you have to zoom out because in the grand scheme of things, we're so deep into stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're creating like the synchronization between technology and humans for the first time,
I also wonder if, obviously, it seems like technology is evolving a lot faster now than it did
Absolutely.
then. So then it was like between the TV and then getting internet, there was like a good period of time. But I feel like now everything is just evolving so much quicker. Maybe that's why it feels more shocking. Because we're like, wait a second, we just started like posting pictures and now we're already like, that's bye-bye, we're doing videos, So
Absolutely.
maybe that's why it feels more shocking.
Absolutely. And to the previous generation has to be even faster because they lived in the time when Sputnik went into space and we just got the internet in
Right.
the late 80s, early 90s. And so from that point on, it's like you only went from word of mouth to now you can find anything.
And there's like self-driving cars. I mean, it must be harder for like, I think our parents' generation, because they saw from like basically or they had the telephone. They had did you guys ever have that
Yeah,
telephone?
the rotary one?
Rotary,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, of
We
course.
did too when I was like really little, but to like now having, yeah.
So
Googling
what
anything
I'm
you
more,
want,
what
having
I'm more
self-driving
interested
cars.
is like in the next 30 years, what is consuming content look like?
What's the next thing?
So what's wild is in the book Sapiens, he was talking about the things that humans have over billions of years, what they wanted and they got, right? So like for you to have an excess amount of food as opposed to somebody during the medieval days, that was an like a uncomprehendable idea. The fact that you have stored food, or the fact that you have multiple outfits versus, you know, in the medieval days, somebody would only have one outfit and they wear that. You take a bath every single day, they would take one once every month or something like that, depending where you are in the social class. But essentially, we became what he's describing as like gods, who are anything we want, we get, and then that decreases our happiness. So one of the wildest ideas that he presented in this book was that when you look forward in the next, let's say 30 or 50 years, I think the scariest part is to not what will come out of it, like how do we consume content, but the scariest part is as like gods living on this earth where we like have animals that we, you know, we mass produced animals, we create limbs if we need to. What will be our desires
Then
in 30, 50 years?
Yeah, because we basically, I mean, have and can do whatever we
Absolutely.
want.
And the happiness scale decreases exponentially.
When you're not working towards
When you
something.
have everything you need, the law of diminishing return, they're seeing this correlation of people in the medieval days showed a lot more signs of happiness as long as they're not oppressed than we are today while having more things. And so the question is like, what are we going to want later on?
What else could we want? Yeah.
Well, the argument right now is that they're leaning towards expanding the human life, where they're trying to essentially, in the large picture, they're trying to make mortality extinct. So what does that mean? It means that if you were to talk to somebody in the 90s or grown up in the 90s, if you heard somebody is 50 years old, they're considered a really old person. You look at somebody in their 50s right now, if they take care of themselves, they're a really young person. So that age, because of technology and science, we are seeing that the retirement age now, I mean, we spoke to our financial advisor, like before people said retirement age is 64 or 65. Now he's seeing them pushing it into the 90s because
Retirement I thought he said like 70s.
well, sorry, they're looking at life expectancies and retirement.
Oh.
So life expectancy was like 77 for a male.
Oh, I thought you were saying retirement.
Now
You're
life
saying life
expectancy
expectancy.
can also, but also correlation with retirement. So before you'd retire in 64, 65, now they're pushing retirement to 75 because they could feel still good. And there's multiple avenues of making money.
I thought you said people are retiring at 90, and I was like,
No.
I don't think so.
I think that's what I said, but I was standing corrected. But so they're figuring out how people can live longer and better lives, essentially, if you take away the sedentary lifestyles. So in the future, I mean, that's the big question is like, what are we going to want and how are we going to consume?
Are you kind of like afraid for our kids' generation?
No, because
you think they'll be fine?
You're thinking about it's going to be a snap of a thing, and every generation thinks that their generation
is very slow. Yeah.
Every generation thinks they're the right generation, right? That's why our parents go like, well, when we were kids, we were out till the sun came out or the lights, street lights turned on, and you know. And so the next generation's like, yeah, that's dumb. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Why did you do that?
Or they'd be like, we did have cell phones and we were just fine. Like, yeah, but it's kind of nice to know that we can call our kids. Like,
that's true.
If you look at it as like
everybody thinks they're right
exactly
in their time period.
This is just human evolution. When they grow up, they're gonna look at things that we did as pretty dumb.
Oh yeah. Well, because things have evolved and advanced, and of course we didn't have whatever they're gonna have, so they're gonna feel like whatever we did was kind of dumb because they have that next thing.
5 years ago, we spoke about the idea of CRISPR. CRISPR is gene manipulation therapy that they started experimenting in China, where they can look into your genetic code and identify any negative strands, cancerous strands, child deformity strands or disabilities, and then they can manipulate and remove that strand so it doesn't affect, right? We looked at it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and people thought that is ridiculous. That goes against human rights. That goes against religious movements. That you're playing the role of God and doing this manipulation. You're looking at 10 years later now. Today we're talking about it. They go, wait a second. We can use stem cells and I can have my shoulder back without surgery? Okay. People get it done. It works. It works phenomenally. Then you pass another 10, 20 years and they're going to be like, I can't believe these barbarians used to go get back surgery. Like, no, we can just get stem cells injected in her.
Yeah.
So it's just slow
As it
progression.
advances,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to think about right now in what we're living in, what it will be like.
I don't want
for them,
to. I don't
but-
think about that because there's nothing you can control in the future. You live in the now.
Yeah,
You try
yeah.
to be present, and you try to.
I always think about that movie. It's a kids movie. What is it called? Wall-E. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
So basically, it's about like the future, and it's like a robot that was like an old one, but that they upgraded to new robots. Anyway, the humans in that movie, they no longer walk. They sit in chairs that hover, and everybody's super overweight because nobody's moving, and they just hover in these chairs and eat whatever they have food. I'm trying to remember what the food was like. It was like just made. They could order whatever they want, like, and it just makes it for them, like some kind of machine. Anyway, so it's like, I think that's the part that scares me. Like, is our kids going to have this kind of lifestyle where they just don't move around? It's all video game, virtual reality kind of stuff.
Well, I think you're
Living in like an alternative, what is it called? Like space.
Yeah, well, that'll be there for sure. We have that. This is here. We
That
live on our
is it,
phones.
yeah.
We live on our phones. When you and I were watching TV yesterday, watching a show, and majority of the time, what were you and I doing? We were on our phones. We already live in the metaverse. It's in our hand right here. It's just not a virtual thing yet because they haven't figured it out. And it's going to slowly evolve
You'll be
to the
there.
same way of like, before you go, we used to meet our friends at the park and talk. Now we're sitting around on TV. It's slow evolution. There's nothing to be scared about it. It's just, now the one thing for sure is,
But I mean, like your body's going to like.
I disagree with the part about living sedentary lifestyles because there are, and we still have them, people who live sedentary lifestyle where the government gives them, whether they're on welfare or just like low income houses or whatever subsidy, that people will try to run the system where it's like, well, I'm going to take the stipend that's given to me and I'm going to eat very unhealthy food for me and I'm going to watch the cable television and not have a job and not go, take care of my body. And that's why we have a rise in obesity. I think, what is it, 60% of our continent or of this country is obese. So the sedentary lifestyle is there. Now, that's in the poor area. In the wealthy or the people in the upper middle class or whatever, that's when they're seeing the information through podcasts and whatnot about the fact that you can feel better and you can accomplish your dreams and you could feel good. So then what ends up happening is you start watching what you eat. You start taking care of your body.
Do you think that will always be there?
100%, because through science, we're trying to get to the place of like he was talking about, is extincting mortality. So
how do you feel your best?
Well, think about it this way. Our
and
parents never listened to podcasts and they didn't exist of like, hey, you should intermittent fast. Hey, maybe you should cut out the carbohydrates. Versus before, remember the food
It was
pyramid?
all word of mouth.
The food
back
pyramid,
then,
remember
yeah.
that?
Yeah, grains.
All your grains should
6
be.
servings of grains.
And so now we are constantly studying things where like the mental health impacts of exercise, what that does for you to go on a run and the benefits of mental clarity. Things like cold plunges. Like, why are we doing that? Because we're constantly trying to, like you were saying, optimize ourselves. So there's always going to be people living in sedentary lifestyles, and there's always going to be people who are trying to live the best life that they could possibly live and feel the best they can possibly feel. So when it comes to our kids' thing, let's say based off of this Wall-E nonsense,
it's a cute movie.
You're going to have, I think, more people in that time who are, because at the end of the day, if we're trying to solve and create through science this immortality pill, like this pill, like the movie Limitless with what's his name in it, where you take this pill and you're smarter, right? You're more successful. Not you're more successful, but you're smarter. And because you're smarter, you can now apply to be more successful. I think science is trying to get to that place. And that place is also the same place of trying to live a longer, better life. So kind of reverse your genetic age, essentially. And that is always going to be open to the upper class than it is to the lower class, because through generations, the lower class has always been kind of suppressed. That's why the government subsidies that pay them, food stamps or whatever. Well, food stamps don't exist, I don't think, anymore, but EBTs or whatnot. Those people are buying unhealthy foods because either A, it's not enough money, or B, there's not enough education towards how to live a better,
I guess
quality of life.
my question is, we have people obviously who do want to optimize and like live their best life and feel their best. But if in the future do you think people will care if they're like, well, I go into this alternate metaverse.
Okay.
They put on their VR, whatever it is in the future. I feel my best there. So they don't feel like they need to feel their best in the actual world.
Why do they feel their best in the VR? Through
'Cause
community.
Yeah. Community. Maybe they are in a game where they're like the best football player.
Sure.
You
But
know?
physically, they still have to feel things, right?
Do you think that will make a difference for them though?
If you're an obese person with type 2 diabetes, and let's say your knees hurt because you're carrying that weight, and your back hurts because if you sit too long in a chair, that hurts as well. Chances are, no matter how good mentally you feel when you're in this game,
It's physically.
because you're amongst community of people who share like-minded activities, you still go back and you feel like crap.
Unless
So
they just stay in that
That's
world
always
forever.
that's always gonna be there. It's nothing different than right now. You have gamers who are sitting at home and they're overweight. Well, they still feel crap. They're still in this like metaverse kind of thing. It's just a partial metaverse right now.
Yeah, I just think people will like be in that much more and longer, and it'll be like their life.
I remember hearing somebody say this, that like an idea of cold plunge. A cold plunge is it does not feel good when you're about to do it and when you get into it. And
The
while
worst
you're
is getting in
Correct.
and getting out.
But then when you do get out and you've taken a shower and you're still cold, but you're like the endorphin release in your head.
You feel this
If
like
you can
energy.
give that feeling in a pill to somebody, everybody would want to take it. But the difference is there's a lot of people who don't know or don't have the self-discipline to be able to achieve those places or those kind of feelings.
To be able to get to that feeling, you have to do a hard thing. And I
Correct.
think that's where people stop at that hard thing. Because every time I do the cold plunge, I'm like, I have to like hype myself up. I'm like, okay, you're going to do this. Because I try to do it 3 days a week. You do it like every day now. And every time I like open, I'm like, okay, like set my timer. I hit like set, and I just like, I'm like, you have to do it. You have to do it. Like, get in.
Yeah.
But it is such a mental hump you have to get over.
Yeah. But you do it
You do
because
it
of how it makes you feel afterwards.
Yeah.
And
Same with working out.
And
you
the health
hate it when you
benefits
do
afterwards.
it,
Yes.
but you feel amazing after.
And there will always be people who say that's too difficult. I don't want to do that. Going to the gym, that's too difficult. I don't want to do it. Eat clean. That's too difficult. I don't want to do it. I'd rather be comforted. And that's, I don't know. It's nature versus nurture, I think, at that point, where it's your, opportunity to what kind of environment you live in and what influence you have. Are you around people who share like-minded ideas of what is the latest and greatest information that's out and how do you optimize and live a better quality of life? Or are you living around and surrounding yourself around people who live the same sedentary lifestyle? That's the big idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in the future, that will always be there. And in fact, like this limitless pill that we're talking about, or like even the Neuralink that Elon Musk is trying to work on, where they're trying to create this piece of technology that will be implanted in the brain. And the motivation behind it was to solve people, to heal people who have loss of sensations or mobilities or, aches and pains and stuff like that. Not even aches and pains, but like somebody with who's quadriplegic, where there's a spinal cord injury, that this this digital mechanism is able to fix that part, right? But then he's always also talking about that thing will help us communicate without using our words. That's what Elon Musk is trying to work on. Now, yes, that's very scary and all that stuff, but and it's a very elite thing. But in the very beginning, that technology is always going to be accessible to only the upper classes, and the lower classes is not going to be acceptable. Being able to get into or be able to receive this piece of technology because there are circumstances, and there's always going to be that disconnect.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be society that is going to try to live like gods and live for eternity. And there's always going to be people who are not trying to pursue that. So in the future,
You have that always.
we
yeah.
still have that today. We had it yesterday, and it's going to be the same thing in the future.
Technology, man.
It's
Can't be scared of it.
you can't. You got to be.
yeah.
Neutral. I think you got to be neutral about it.
Neutral.
You can't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna. If you try to like push against it, it's just gonna keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it all evolves. But interesting to see how social media will change as the years go on. Like for our kids, what it will be like.
Yeah, it just entertainment is in general.
I do find it interesting because you did say that this short form content is really popular. Everything's getting shorter and shorter, but there's still shows out there that we watch that are like an hour long and we still enjoy them. It must be, it's like certain things, right?
Here's what I think.
What's the difference?
I consume content at different parts of the day differently. So in the mornings, I like to do Instagram and Facebook just because I want to see some of my friends or the people that I follow and what they have posted in terms of very short, like a picture or a thing. I don't even watch reels in the morning. And then as my day is done and I'm on the couch, I like to watch some of the reels kind of stuff. That's more like a quicker kind of thing, TikTok. And then after that, I like to watch like YouTube where it's like 18-minute videos, something like that I don't have to spend, like it's kind of like your TV dinner kind of thing.
More like dense
Exactly.
stuff that, you can consume.
But then when I work out in the mornings, I like to listen to long form podcasts. I don't want to listen to 30-minute podcasts. I want to listen to 3-hour-long podcasts, even though I only have 30 minutes to listen to it.
Interesting.
That way I can come back to this conversation in the next
Next time you're working
But that's that morning of podcast and evening when we watch very long formatted shows, hour and a half, long shows. Those are long form substances for me.
It's what it is. I think you're right. It's the
One
substance.
gives me knowledge and this really interesting educational conversation between two people, exchange of ideas, substance. And then the other one in the evening, this long formatted, movie or show, it's taking me on an adventure. All right. I don't want to be told a bedtime story that only lasts 3 minutes. I want to hear that.
We need
we need an adventure.
We need the build up, conflict
Correct.
resolution kind of thing.
Correct. So those two pieces of long form content, that's how I like to consume. I want to be educated and I wanted to be taken on this adventure. And I think that's why we loved, primarily storytelling.
And we still love movies.
And we still love movies, absolutely.
We go see 3-hour-long movies and
Absolutely.
we love them. But it's different. You're right. It's what we're looking for in that moment. Are we ready to like go on this like adventure to watch this movie? Or are we just scrolling through because we're so on the go? I think we scroll through those short form things on the go. Or if we are looking for information.
Right.
Like reels are such a popular thing with just tips and tricks, certain information that people are giving. People look for that in those too.
So I'm recently trying to learn more and more about this idea of meditations. And I actually started this book. I think it's called The Beginner's Guide to Meditations.
I was going to say, is it called meditation?
Yeah. And what's interesting is he's kind of walking chapter by chapter about what meditation is and what meditation isn't, and then how to do certain things. So like when your mind wanders, how to bring it back. And it's okay that it wanders because your mind's made to wander. Focus on you don't have to focus on breathing a certain pattern, just breathe, but focus on the feeling and the sense when you take the breath in and then when you let the breath out. Focus on what you feel when you're sitting and something's itching, like you're supposed to release that, be present, be grateful. And I was kind of wondering, I was like, what is he? So I'm trying to create this list of like, okay, when I do it, like, what am I supposed to focus on? And like, give me this like guide to it. And then I'm going like, so what meditation really is getting yourself to a place of nothingness. like absolute no stimulation.
But can you ever get there?
I don't know, but because I don't have enough expertise to speak about this. But what was interesting to me is you hear Dr. Huberman talking about how important meditation is to him, or sensory deprivation, and they're not long formatted things. They're between like 10 and 20 minutes essentially. So in 10 and 20 minutes, you're trying to get yourself to a place of low stimulation and presence, right? And every time I've done it, I feel fantastic. Like it feels like I got an hour long back massage. But then I wonder, do we need to do that because we're constantly stimulated?
Yeah.
And I don't think stimulation is in the same boat of like you're listening to these long format podcasts or these like big storytelling things in the evening. But what I think is we're not comfortable with like nothingness.
Silence. Quiet.
I've done it in the car. Like I've driven and I was
Peace.
like, well, I don't want to listen to a podcast. I also don't want to I have too much in my brain. I don't want to turn on the music. So like, why can't I just sit quietly and drive?
Yeah.
So I think because we're constantly stimulated because of our connection to our phones, that we need to get to a place of like just even momentary brief parts where we just go like sensory deprivation. Yeah.
That's true. I wonder why. That's probably why it's becoming more of a popular thing, because we are like craving that and we need that in our lives, but we're not getting it.
Yeah, you didn't hear too much conversations about meditations in the 90s.
No.
Right? People are like, no, I'm always alone.
Because they didn't have what we have. So we are like overly stimulated for sure. I've never thought about that way.
In the
It's
book,
very
he's
true.
basically talking about, in a nutshell, it's your way of getting your brain to a place of being able to just like process what you have. Because we're constantly stimulated in the fact that if you wanted a particular sweater, you can have it showed up tomorrow. And you're still not happy. You're content, but you're not happy, because the law of diminishing return, that you need to almost get yourself to a place where you're not, these periods of times where you're not wanting anything. You're allowing yourself to process the fact that you have everything you need, and you have health.
Be
you
grateful.
have exactly gratefulness.
Absolutely.
And just a brief pause of like kind of like a power nap where you had a miserable night, and then now by you taking a 30-minute power nap, it's enough for you to wake up and be like, okay, I feel good now. And that is what that does. What is it? Didn't Huberman have something where it's this abbreviation about?
Yes, I can't remember the
It's
letters.
a N something. It's basically non-sleep rest something.
Something, yeah.
Yeah. And it's the idea of like you're just like laying with your eyes closed, you're not sleeping, but you're kind of in that like.
It's crazy that
nothingness.
it's so hard to get to that place
Yes.
for like our human brains,
Uh-huh.
because there's so much going on.
Work.
And so many thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I don't know if I could. I mean, I want to try it. I've never been able to just like turn off.
Well, it's definitely.
It's a process
Oh,
thing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen over a second. It's built up to it. But
I used to actually like doing that before when I would run. And you do that too. I would every once in a while not have music or a podcast or a audible book and just run in silence. And it's really hard the first time because you're bored and you're like, I need something to distract me on this run. But then you get into this like zone of, okay, listen to your breathing. How are you breathing? Are you breathing in the right way? How are your feet hitting the pavement? And then you start like, you get into this like zone. And I
flow
remember
state, yeah.
the flow state.
Yeah.
I liked that, but I don't run outside anymore. So things changed.
So we took a big circle, but you're going around like, what are you up to now?
So with Reels, I'm hoping to jump back in. I kind of was doing informative house decor kind of Reels, and then I jumped into like the funny kind of Reels that showcase my personality, and then kind of stopped doing all that. I've been doing a little bit more Reels. I did some of just like, I'm trying to do quicker ones because that's really what people want to watch. And it's not like I like the before and after Reels, but sometimes it's like I did a couple of Reels of just answering like frequently asked questions. Like a question that I get all the time is, what is that art piece above your TV?
You get that a lot, really?
Yeah, all the time. People are like, because I have a lot of photos and videos of our living room. That's probably the most photographed /videoed room in our house. And almost every time I get multiple people asking where that art piece is from. And it's funny because even when I change it, they'll ask.
They'll spell it because that means you have good taste in art. Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, what? You know, I'll change it for like, because it's so easy to change it on the frame TV. And so I did a reel of just like, everybody always asks me, what is that art above your fireplace? And then I did like a turn on the TV and was like, surprise, it's a TV.
That was a good reel.
Yeah, but it's like so quick. I did it so fast. And then I did another one today that was super quick because I just realized this random tip of how to hide the table lamp cord.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I'm just going to make a video of this because it's like before, I don't think I thought about how everything could be content. I thought before I had to like plan it out and it had to be this like very extravagant before and after thing. It had to be like this very long, I guess the process of like putting it together was a lot longer for me then. And now I'm like, it's fine if I create like a reel that's like super short, quick.
Right. That's
like a quick tip that I learned or something that I like. And I'm learning that along the way. And it's been a lot easier for me to do it.
Yeah. I did notice you've come a long way of learning the pace of video because you've always known pictures and how to like make them stylistic.
Video is harder.
But I remember you had a hard time. Like I saw some of your stuff and I was like, this is too slow pace.
Yeah.
And then I think you've really kind of figured out like what that pace.
And having the clips just so, quick. I was going to say another thing. You cut me off.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I forgive you. My voice is kind of coming back.
It is coming back.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's an interesting time. And I think as long as you stay vigilant of seeing which direction it's going, it's definitely VR is going to be heavy. I actually used to think when the metaverse idea was first dropped by Zuckerberg that it wasn't going to last, kind of like NFTs in a way. Not that NFTs are completely gone, but like they've really crashed.
Died down, yeah.
But then just seeing this whole like metaverse evolve a little bit, not too heavy, but like the fact that I have friends in a different state and they're like, hey, you should get poker VR. And then you're just like, it's another way for you to hang out in a very dorky form. Like it's nothing like you, it's just some kind of avatar, but it's a way for you to feel like you're in the same place. It was kind of like when the pandemic first hit and people were trying to hang out with their friends through Zoom parties and games. You felt it was better than nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was better than a phone call.
It felt weird, but it was at least
you were in a shared activity too. Yeah.
Yeah. Still having that community of friends and doing something versus just like, because I remember when it first happened, we were all like, what do we do now? Like we want to hang out. We miss our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it'll evolve. It'll evolve. I think people just, if you're a content creator or in the space of creating content, you just have to constantly pay attention to what's working, experiment with it. And because if you don't
like it, don't like try to push away from it. Just see like where things go. I think I am more of the person that if something is like technology moves towards something that I feel uncomfortable with, I like tend to like, I'm never going to use that, or I'm going to push away from it.
Oh, like video, like, hey, come do a video. Yeah. And you're like, I don't like being on camera.
Yeah. And it's like, because it feels uncomfortable to me. And it's like, well, I guess the more healthy approach would be, well, if I'm uncomfortable with it, how do I get to a place of being like okay or comfortable or not, pushing away from that?
Yeah.
So advice I'm giving myself.
As long as you're listening to your own advice, it will always work out.
Therapy with Irina.
Well, this has been fun. The future is fine. We're all going to be okay.
The future is fine.
Don't be scared. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you're watching us on YouTube.
Yes, and join us next week. We'll have some special guests.
Yes, we will. All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.